Hi friends, good morning. I would like everyone to on the videos. Can you please on your videos? Yeah. So to introduce myself P. Nani. So this session is we are handling the session based on US taxation and accounting. Last two sessions, I'm sure many of you attended. We have taken on campus placement, and one is on campus placement, second is on fund accounting and investment banking. And we have saw good response from our audience, and many people requested to give awareness on big four and global funds and Indian funds. Past 5 years, if you can see, as a CA fresher, many people would aware that they may be getting into Indian accounting or big four India corporate accounting or auditing, but now the trend has changed. More likely, the US taxation, accounting, and auditing, these roles are growing more popular than big four India. But people are so curious and confused, in choosing whether to go for Indian accounting or for US accounting or offshore accounting. And if they go to offshore accounting, what are the opportunities? For example, if they work in 1 year in US company, what if they quit and job? Will there be enough opportunities for them? Will they can be shipped to Indian corporate? So this is a major confusion. Even I have this confusion. So we took this chance and opportunity, to give you guidance from expert speakers to choose whether career in Big Four India or global. If you choose in Big Four global, and what are your career opportunities? How you can excel in future, like working in 2 years in Big Four global. How can you shift your career and what are the packages? So to give guidance at this point in time to you all, I invited eminent speaker and expert who has worked 2 decades of experience in Big Four, and he started his own practice. His name is Rajashekar Reddy Yedla, and he also founded a startup. It's a US company, and now he's growing company. And I would like to invite him to take up the session. Hello, sir.
Hi, Nani.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Hear from you about this topic.
Good morning.
I think some people are putting a message in the chat saying the voice is not clear. Is it clear now?
Clear. Yes, sir. Your voice is clear.
Okay, right. Perfect. So most of you are recently qualified chartered accountants? Okay, Manasa, I got you. Okay, CA intermediate, semi-qualified. Good. So we have a good mixture of all people. That's really good. Yeah. So just before we start this meeting, so I just wanted to introduce myself first, and then I will just speak about what is the difference between a Big Four Indian firms and Big Four global delivery centers. And then I would speak more about the global delivery centers because they are the carriers are really coming up very well in those segments. And finally, I would speak for some time on what are the ingredients that you require to have a successful career, either in a corporate world or in practice. And then for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, we will have a Q&A session only, because I don't want to lecture here, because you would have already gone through a lot of lectures. So is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, right, great. So my name is Rajashekar Reddy Yedla. I'm a chartered accountant, qualified in 2005. And I started off my career with Deloitte. Then I went to a startup company, and then I went back to KPMG for about 10 years. And both those things were in my global delivery center. And 6 years back, I started my CA practice. I quit global delivery center career in global delivery center and started my CA practice, and expanded that into about 20 people plus practice. And now I started off my own US-based company for doing US audits and taxation works for mostly predominantly in the North American market. I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad. I'm married and I have 2 little daughters. So that's about me. So I was an associate director with KPMG, where I was managing a team of 300 plus people. So I have experience in US accounting, US taxation, UK taxation, Canadian tax, and Australian tax. So I migrated a lot of clients for many of these big 4 firms and other boutique firms. So after migrating practices for them, so I thought, let me start my own practice. So we all came together. And I'm only a chartered accountant. I have not done my CPA. So I think I cannot reveal my firm name because it will again go against the ethics. So that's about me.
You can ask all your questions later. Let him, continue.
Yeah. So coming to the topic today of Big 4 Indian firms and the global delivery centers, and making a choice of which career to choose. So see, the option is you have to make a choice. If you're asking me where the career will be good, career will be always be good. It's only a matter of what is your interest. If your interest is in domestic business, then Big 4s are the best place to work, because Big 4 firms have extraordinary. Just to give you a background, the Big 4 firms like Deloitte or PwC or KPMG, they cannot practice in India. How many of you know that? So they practice as a brand name. So how this structures, just for KPMG, how it is structured is, it is a Indian firm which got associated with KPMG International. So they go in India with KPMG brand name. So they don't. So when you look at any company's audit report signed by KPMG, it will not be signed by KPMG, but it will be signed by BSR Rao. So Deloitte has the same structure, or these are only the brands. They are not. They are not practicing on their own name, because India doesn't allow foreign firms to come and practice in India. Like, you cannot go and practice, do a certification in USA or UK unless you take up an exam in their country and write the exam in their country. They won't allow you. But you're always, since it's a global knowledge, accounting is a global language, taxation is a global language. So we always have, the concept remains the same, only the terminology varies. So they practice in India in that way. And when it comes to the global delivery centers, they have set up their own global delivery centers, which practice, support their practices in US and predominantly US market, and the UK and Canada is also there, and even in Australian Big 4 firms are also using the capability centers in India, right? So why you should go for a Big 4 firm, not a small firm? Why there is that craze to join Big 4 firms for India? So let's look at Indian firms. People always want to work for a Big 4, EY or PwC or KPMG. The reason is they get to handle bigger clients, and also the process they follow in audit or in taxation, in any work they do, whether it is management consulting. So the approach they get to follow that is what is very critical, where people can learn a lot of things from there. I have seen personally, people who have been doing articleship in Big Four firms, they travel a lot even during articleship and they don't get time to attend classes. But they still clear their exams in first attempt. Not because those people are more talented than you. If you look at talent-wise, you people are more talented. Who is not a person who works in the normal firms, but the person who is working in Big Four has a better mindset, is more committed, and discipline gets developed as part of their articleship. So that's the reason why people prefer a Big Four even after completing their CA. So the difference of audit quality, most of the Indian firms, how we do approach an audit. We just do an audit and our boss comes and signs a report and then takes it forward. But in Big Four, before a partner signs an audit report, it at least goes through 3 levels of review. So there's a structure in place where people want to understand that structure and gain that knowledge. So most of the time, people work there as just for the sake of deliverables. So when you're working with a deliverable as a target, just to complete the audit report without understanding the whole thing, then you end up working in a Big Four for a very long time. But when you understand the overall business and how the process works and how the client gets approached, how do you do the client servicing? So that's where you will understand the whole game. So that's the advantage that you'll have when you go to Big Four. The other side of the Big Four carriers is the pressure, because they always work in a high pressure zone. Lack of work-life balance, because you'll be more working on a client deliverables on an urgent basis. So it's most of the times, so there is always a joke which says that the Big Four means you work 4 hours extra every day. So that's a thing with the Big Four Indian side and the domestic business. And the other aspect of you is it will help you develop those specialized skills. Like you get specialized in taxation or GST and you focus on the specialization and they make you master. That's a good advantage of being with the Big Four firms. And coming to global delivery centers. Global delivery centers are like the future of business. Just to give you a context, why a global delivery center comes into India. See, when I did my articleship way back in 2000, we used to do a lot of manual filings, income tax filings. Like most of you, if I say how the filing used to happen those days, people cannot even relate to it. Like we used to manually fill up the form, go and stand in a queue and submit the form, manual form. Take 3 copies. 1 copy, the department will take it. 2 copies, they'll put the acknowledgement number and give it back to you. So 1 copy goes to your office records, and other copy goes to the client. So that's how we used to work 20 years back. And 20 years forward, right now, we do most of it. We don't even visit a department unless we get a notice. And even the notice now has gone faceless. So mostly you work from your office and just sit at your office and then you update your income tax records. So that's a complete shift in which the way of doing business has changed in the last 20 years. Precisely because in 2000, our economy was not even $1 trillion. It was around $700 billion economy. And right now we are at 3.5 trillion. That's what is expected to be by March 23. We are expected to be a $3.5 trillion economy. And does anybody know what is the economic size of USA? It's $23 trillion. That is at least 7 to 8 times of our economic size of our economy. So the 23 trillion. So what kind of opportunities, the way of you do business will change. So they need things to be done. Most of the redundant work, like the compliance work or the advantage why they come back to India is they want more client-facing time. They don't want to sit in the office and do a lot of compliance works or audit works. So that's the reason why they have centered these global centers, delivery centers. So what is the advantage? The global delivery centers have is, right now we don't have the visibility of Deloitte. Just take the example of Deloitte. Deloitte has about 40 plus offices in US, in different cities. And each city and each region is being managed by a partner, senior partner. And they have set up one more region, R10 in Hyderabad. So that is managed by another partner. But each office delivers things in a different model, different style. So having a global delivery centers will allow them to deliver the same quality, same kind of return to every client. So there is a lot of efficiencies gets built into. So that's the reason why the global delivery centers have been set up. So they have set up not just in India, but if you look at PwC, they have a center in India, they have a center in Vietnam, South Africa, Brazil, Hungary. So they have, it's not just they are coming to India for population. So they go to different countries because one is the time zone advantage, the skill set advantage, and a lot of people. If you see, there was a recent report in US market after COVID, about 300 lakh, that is like almost like 3 lakhs, 3 lakh CPAs have left their profession and have joined, they have left the profession. So 3 lakh accountants leaving a profession is as good as like our whole CA firm ICA membership is around 3 lakhs. So there, the 3 lakh people have said they are not doing this accounting job. And the firms need accountants to do the work. So they visualized this situation would be coming in. So that's the reason why they set up this global delivery centers 20 years back. So that's the reason why global delivery centers are set up. But what are the advantages that you will get in working in such centers? Just to tell you my experience of working in global delivery centers. You are always working 5 to 10 years ahead of where the Indian domestic business is. Most of the people right now, there is a misconception going on in the market. I don't know how strong is that, but when I started my career in 2005 and 6 in the global delivery centers, people used to say it is they are not the big fours. They are not the in thing. The in thing is you go to Indian big four. But I made a choice to work with global delivery centers, and precisely what I understood was these global delivery centers are at least 10 to 15 years ahead of our time. They are working from future. So just to give an example, in 2006 and 7, when I started working with on US taxation, we were doing e-filing. In 2007, e-filing was not a known concept in India. How e-filing will be done, we have seen in I have seen in 2006. Whereas in India, we started doing e-filing returns only from 2012 and 13 onwards. And still, we do a lot of paper filing where we use a digital signature. If the digital signature is not there or the return is not acknowledged, we sign and send a copy. But US was there already 15 years back. They were doing 100% e-filing, except for few state returns. Everything goes e-filing. So if you're working in a global delivery centers, you get to see the world, how a US market is operating, sitting in India. That's a number one advantage that you will get. So when you work in a future-based organizations, so it's not just taxation and audit that you have in there. Like you go to KPMG, there is a whole lot of consulting business that happens. KGS has a consulting division. Deloitte has consulting. All the big four have the consulting functions as well. Consulting functions, they do a lot of groundwork, research work to do consulting works. So it's not just about taxation or accounting or audit. There's a lot of consulting work. There is a lot of state services being provided, and how you work with multicultural teams. So you get onto a team where when somebody is from Africa, somebody is from Europe, somebody is from US. So wherever you go, people are different. Even in within Telugu speaking people, you have 3 slangs. So even you go to UK, there are like 6 to 7 slangs people speak. Somebody, person from a south of England cannot understand Scotland English. So we think English is one language and it is one. It's the same everywhere. So it's not. So you get to understand the multicultural people, and each culture has a different mindset. The people take it differently. So that's a big advantage that you'll get when you work with the global delivery centers, because at such a young age, getting exposed to that. Like most of the time when you travel only to US, you'll get exposed to that kind of a culture. Whereas working with global delivery centers, you're working for a future-based organizations and multicultural teams. And that will really help you in enhancing your perception about your profession. So the whole thing about global delivery centers is you are owning up your piece and making it work. So most of the time, people, we all come from a small CA firm background. So we always look at, if some client has come in, so we look at taking up the whole return and completing it. Whereas if you look at the process, how other things are structured, so they just do one part of it. They do only one schedule. They train people only in doing in one schedule, and you become master of schedule M1. You do only the form. You do only the itemized deduction. So that's how you'll be working on that. And coming to audit side of global delivery centers, it's again an amazing opportunity for you people, because most of the Indian firms don't rely on documentation, audit documentation, even though we study as part of our accounting standards and audit standards what kind of documentation is required. But practically, when it comes to on-the-court delivery, we don't do that kind of documentation. And that is the reason why, as a CA profession, you can't charge those kind of fees to people. The difference why a Big Four charges such a huge fees compared to other small CA firms in India is we don't do the documentation. Like if you look at audit practice right now, so small rental associations, people prepare about 90 work papers only for that small association audit. Can we imagine somebody doing that in India before forming an opinion, and that going through a 3 level of reviews, and then finally the audit partner issuing a audit report, because it's something which you are never exposed to. But when you're working on those audits and in the global delivery centers, you get exposed to those kind of things which will help you learn. And so that it's like, if you want to put it in one line, what is the difference? Working in domestic firms is like you're working in present. Working in global delivery centers is you're working in future-based organizations. Like you're working in your tomorrow. So whatever the documentation part or whatever the audit procedures that people are following, so those things you have to follow because our businesses are to grow. In next 20 years, 30 years, when you are the chartered accountants, you become your career as a chartered accountant will coincide with India going from 3.5 trillion to 30 trillion economy in next 30 years. So you have to understand how that a 20 trillion economy works, how an audit firm needs to be to handle a 20 trillion economy. So not just having a technical skill is not going to suffice. How you collaborate, how you bring in different people, multicultural people onto one platform and deliver things. So those are the skills that you will develop when you work in global delivery centers. So that's the whole difference between global delivery center and Big Four. But the only thing that you require for success in global delivery centers is you have to be inquisitive and always the willingness to learn. If you think, okay, I'm done with my CA, I've studied all of it, then delivery centers are not for you. Don't get into delivery centers because delivery centers requires you to learn things, multiple things at multiple times. So you cannot say that, okay, I'm done with studies and I'll just do specialized things. So you'll go into different things. So I did my Indian taxation, then I went to US taxation. I worked in US taxation for 4 years. Then I went to UK, learned UK taxation for about 6 years. Then 2 years I did Canadian tax, 1 year Australian tax. So you have to learn multiple things. The more you learn, the more the growth will be. If you want growth in delivery centers, you have to learn different things, not the same thing. Whereas if you are interested in Indian Big Four firms, you learn only one thing throughout. If you're looking at tax audits, then you do tax audits for the rest of your life. Whereas global delivery centers, you have to expand your career. You have to look at learning different things, not just tax technicals or accounting part, but a lot of technology stuff also you have to upgrade yourself. Because there is, I still remember when we were doing with the Deloitte and KPMG, we used to have a RSA tokens. Whereas before logging into the server, people give you those tokens. You have to get those codes to enter, OTPs. Now we are getting those OTPs on mobile. So there are applications which you have to work on that. So that's how the whole thing will go on for global delivery centers and the Big Four. So maybe we can clarify most of those questions. If you have any questions, I will let you go for when we have a Q&A session in next 15 minutes. We can ask your questions. I can clarify them. And coming to having a corporate career and having a success, whether it is a success in corporate world or your practice or wherever you do, there are certain ingredients that you need to have. And the ingredients are developed. They're not inborn. So there are certain skills which you have to acquire, which skill you have to develop. Only then you will have the success. The first skill that you have is a mindset. The first, you need to have that mindset of success. Have a positive mindset. Whatever is the situation, always create a positive Don't lose your mindset. First, create a positive mindset. Create your environment in such a fashion that positiveness is always there with you, and then approach the world. You cannot approach a world with a negative mindset or with a doubtful mindset. Whether things will work or things will not work. Things will always work because you make it work. So always have a positive approach, positive mindset. And second thing is, if you want to have a successful career, always have a top-down approach. Always think from the top, act from the bottom. If you're not thinking from the top, because you cannot travel from top to bottom, you always have to travel from bottom to up. But your thinking has to come from top. Before you start anything, you see it from a 10,000 feet height and then go down to ground zero and then start taking the step-by-step approach to reach that 10,000th step. Just to give an example, most of the time people don't understand what is top-down approach. Most of the time when you say, for example, when you're doing an audit, you see an invoice. So what is the first thing that will come up to you when you see an invoice, a payment invoice? We just see it's an expenditure, right? So when you see it as an expenditure, you don't. You have to look at what will be the impact on the bottom line. What will be the impact on a dividend? If this expenditure is more, how it is going to impact the dividend to the shareholder? What will be the impact on the balance sheet? Where will this impact on the trial balance? And then pass the entry. Just don't, looking at the invoice, just don't go and rush to pass the entry. Because most of the time, 99% of the time, people do that. And that's the reason why they take long time to have a success in career. So before you do anything, any job, look at where all it, how this is going to impact you, how it is going to impact the company, how it is going to impact the shareholders, how it is impacting the management. Think from there and then act. Whether you do a bank audit or you do any audit or any tax return or anything, always look at from there. So even when you're studying as some of you are still pursuing CA course, always look at why the provision has been come. Don't look just at what the provision says. Provision says, okay, you have to give this much percentage of depreciation. But look at why this provision is kept. That is top-down approach. So then you know, okay, this much has to be given, this much has to be provided. So that's the reason why you should always look at top to bottom approach. I give a very simple example. Like in my articleship days, there was this one person who was doing this vouching, and it was a rental vouch, rent payment he was doing for the rent. So he did an impeccable job. He collected all the 12 invoices, everything he has done, whether it has been approved properly, whether the right approvals are there, signed signatures were there, whether it is in the right time, whether it pertains to the right period, everything he has done. So when I went and saw that, my first question was, what is this rent paid for? And he didn't have an answer. So doing all the groundwork without understanding how it is getting impacted is not going to take you anywhere. So always have a top-down approach in your career, which will make you grow faster in your life. And another thing, the third thing which I always tell people is, first invest in your immediately after your qualification or after completion of your articleship. The next 2 to 3 years, you invest on yourself to understand what is your work ethic. Design your work ethic, design your approach, design your mindset. Define yourself. What will you stand for? What will be your work ethic will be? What will be your approach will be? What are the things that you will do and what are the things you won't do when it comes to a corporate world? So once you define them, that is what will define your career success for rest of your life. Most of the time, people, once they pass CA, they just look at the package. They just look at the profile for some people. Some people just look at the company name or a brand. But those are not the things to be looked at. It doesn't matter where you start working. What matters is first 2 to 3 years, you have to lay the foundation. Because for the rest of your life, you are going to be a chartered accountant. You are not going to be a chartered accountant for 2 years and then become something else. The rest of your life, you'll be a chartered accountant, and you have to put in that effort to define who you will be and what you will stand for. Only when you do that, you will have the opportunity to grow faster. So as long as you do these 3 things and follow those 3 things, then definitely you will have a great success in your career. And the final thing that you need to look at, especially in corporate world, first 3 things are required, whether you do it in your practice or in your corporate world. The 3 things are required. If you are working in corporate world, the 4th thing is also required. What's the 4th thing? The 4th thing is make your boss always win the game. Don't compete with your boss. See, it's gone are the days where your boss has to get promoted, only then you will get promoted. So you should have that positive mindset, and always see, it's you and your boss both are working together to make the vision of the organization come true. And your job is only to make your boss achieve that. So when you partner with your boss in making the achieving the goals, then automatically your career will be taken care. Don't compete with your boss, but complement your boss. So when you approach with that, then obviously you will have an extraordinary career in your in the corporate world. So I think that's a point from career perspective and from Big Four and other things. So we have about now 50 minutes. So I just want to open up for questions so people can ask any of their questions. So I just want to make this session more interactive rather than doing it.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. That was very insightful and so granular. So we'll go for the Q&A session. So guys, you can post your questions in the chat box so that the sir can answer that. So I'll read out the question for you, sir. So Praveen Hari is asking you, hi, sir. Thanks for the guidance. I'm working in EY GDL since 5 months after I cleared CA in audit team. Okay. And I'm planning to move to Indian Big Four. Is it possible, sir? And is it good?
See, it is all possible, but why you want to move? Because you just want to move because you cleared CA, you want to move to Indian Big Four? It makes no sense. Okay.
If you want to ask anything, if you want to add up anything, you can say.
Yeah, I think he's asking for exposure in Indian companies.
Yes.
Fine. Looking at building the exposure in Indian companies, you can always make a move. Only thing is you have to go speak to your director or a partner in your service line and request them, like enroll them to why you need and what you can contribute there. More, what value addition can you bring in? Rather than working for GDC, what value addition you can bring to EY India? If you are clear on that, go and enroll them. Don't go and speak to your partner saying that I want this. He will not give you. If you want it, it is not your father or mother, right? to give you what you want. He will give you when you see what value addition you can give to the company. Right, Praveen?
Yeah, that sorts his question. So we have another question from CA Sai Nandini. Can you please elaborate about the work culture, pros and cons of each Big Fours? Each Big Fours, she's in particular.
Okay. See, Big Fours, for Deloitte, I always had a great respect because they take care of their employees very well. So that's a big thumbs up from because I have experienced that myself. So when it comes to work, pressure will always be there with all the Big Fours. You cannot avoid that. It's only thing a matter of how you will handle that. How will you enhance your ability to manage more pressure is what you have to develop. You cannot avoid pressure or stressful situations in job, especially with either at Big Four global or Indian this thing. And PwC has an amazing culture as well. So most of these things, especially the Big Four thing, what you need to understand is they have an extraordinary and world-class performance management systems. So if you look at performance evaluation systems, I don't know any of you would have experienced it in the Indian CA firms or otherwise, but every year they have a performance evaluation mechanism, and they give you a goal beginning of the year, and 6 months there will be a review of the goal, and after the end of the year they evaluate how much you have achieved against the goal, and then they'll give you the benefits. So the practices somewhat remains similar, but all the Big Fours are same. They have the same good practice. So that is one of the it's an exposure that you will get only when you are working in an organization at least for 3 to 4 years. So first year you'll always on the learning curve, so you will not be evaluated properly because you're on the learning curve. Only the second year is where you start running the show, so that's where you will start getting it. And EY has very strong technical preference. Like if you look at taxation perspective, so EY has a great emphasis on technical skills. They need more of EAs and other things. And another thing which we didn't touch upon when we are working on Big Four global delivery centers is most of these companies sponsor your CPA or EA. So they sponsor it, or you can do it on your own. It's a choice which you can make. But acquiring those global educational qualifications makes a huge difference. But that will not guarantee success, but it will help you in career for sure. Because I have seen people who are pure BCom graduates, but they have reached very high positions in Big Fours, especially on the global delivery centers. Because what they need is your mindset, your ability to solve problems, rather than your qualifications. So qualifications you always is important, but it is not like a do or die. Like if you go to the Indian Big Four, qualification is mandatory. Without qualification, you will not get in. But even for semi-qualified, I have seen. When I was managing a team of 300 people in KPMG, I had almost 200 plus semi-qualifieds, and few people have cleared exam, but most of them have not cleared their CA. But still, they're all earning more than 50 lakhs now. Still, then they're making a career. 50 lakhs, they are more than 50 lakhs per annum package, even though they are semi-qualified. The only thing is you have to stay for longer durations. People have spent 10 years, 12 years with global delivery centers. So that's an advantage.
Yeah, thank you, sir. That was an elaborative answer. So We'll go for the next question. Lakshmi Kashyap is asking, please give us a short brief about PAS US tax profile and what are all the skills I need to develop to join global Big Four firms as I'm pursuing ACCA skill level.
Okay. See, if you're looking at US taxation, see, you're going in different directions. You're pursuing ACCA and then you're looking at US tax, which is not the right combination. If you're looking at ACCA, maybe you should be looking at more towards Europe and Southeast Asia. ACCA will not have recognition or the skill set, the recognition in the US, North American markets. So if you're looking at US taxation, then I would suggest you look at UK tax or Singapore, even to an extent Australian tax, but not the US tax. That will not going to create help you, because ACCA is a very good course. I think there are about 12 papers in it and you have to put in that effort. It's not like you'll pass easily. It takes time. So that's something which you need to look at. And with regard to US tax profile, that's a hot cake in the market today. US taxation, when we started off 15 years or 16 years back, people always used to question me saying that why you're doing US taxation when you're a chartered accountant. So my approach was, you're learning something new, so better learn it rather than try to do the same thing over and over again. So there are many companies, Lakshmi, where you can join them and they'll train you and then they will guide you, rather than you trying to learn on yourself. So there are small companies, there are big companies. So Deloitte also takes freshers and trains them for 3 months. So even we have a profile for US taxations open, and we also take people and freshers and train them. So as I said, your inquisitiveness is very critical. You have to have the willingness to learn, because US taxation is very vast. They have more than 9,000 sections in their income tax code. So it is much more complex and bigger than Indian taxation. So only thing is you have to make a choice and then work there, because you have to make the choice first, whether ACCA and US taxation are not the right combination.
Okay, so Lakshmi, you have to look into your choices, I guess. So we'll move to the next question. Harish is having a question. How much package can we approximately expect if we work in GDS for 5 years?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
How much package can we get approximately if we were in GDS for 5 years?
Again, depends upon whether you're in tax or in audit, which tax you are working on. And see, Big Fours, any global delivery centers will pay you good salaries, no doubt about it. What matters, what happens is, once you start your journey, your first salary is what matters. But the thing is, how much will be a performance be? Like, as I said, there is a performance evaluation system with these global delivery centers, and it is a world-class performance evaluation system. So how will you perform in those 4 years, and how will you get evaluated makes a huge difference in where you end up. But on average, in whatever salary you start off with, so compounded growth rate will be around 10 to 15% per annum. For sure, you'll have.
Great, sir. So we have another question. Siva is asking us, I am a CA. How can I work in US or UK taxation in global Big Four if I don't have any prior experience? So a lot of people keep asking this question. So
see, if you are a CA, don't expect that somebody will take you as an assistant manager or a senior associate. If you are if you're a CA, still you have to start your career as an associate. Don't compare yourself with a BCom graduate, because most of the Big Fours take graduates and train them on their programs. So join the centers as associate, but only thing is, you being a chartered accountant, you'll grow faster. If a graduate is taking 5 years to become an assistant manager, you can become assistant manager in 3 years. because you have that skill set. Only thing is you have to complement your skill set with your mindset, and then you can grow faster. Most of the times people think, okay, I'm a chartered accountant, so I cannot go down and sit along with a graduate and learn. If you have to let go of that. So most of the companies, people want to join as an assistant manager or as a reviewer. So at least first 2 years you have to prepare the return. Only then you'll understand how to review the return. So that is where critical.
Okay, sir. Thank you for answering this question. So Vignesh is having one question. Tell us about the salary package, increment and traveling needs, whether to go for taxation or audits.
In Indian Big Four or Global Delivery Center?
So it's not particular.
Global delivery centers will not require you to travel. Maybe they might take you onshore few times to interact with the clients and other things, but global delivery centers will not involve travel. Whereas Big Four India firms, especially in the first initial 4 or 5 years, you will have a lot of things to travel.
Okay, that was great. So Abhinav is asking a question, sir. Can you say me few skills that we need to develop before I can join in Big Four? Like what they expect that we know these skills before we join?
Okay. So the first thing which I'll tell you what I used to look at people. Like I interviewed more than 2,000 people in recruiting the 300 people. So I used to do the final round. So what I always used to look at is whether the people are going to solve the problem or going to create a problem. So always be part of a solution. Don't be part of a problem. Being part of the problem is always easy. So what you need to develop is to always be part of a solution. And how much you are able to collaborate. In a team, you'll be working in a large teams, you'll be working in small teams, but you should be in a position to collaborate with different people, different mindsets. Because if you go to Global Delivery Center, you'll be working, somebody will be from North, somebody will be from South, somebody will be from East. And everybody has their skill set. Like people from East are so hardworking. And people from the West, especially Gujarat and other things, they are very smart. They get things done very easily. And people from South are mostly introverts. They take time to open up. People from North are always extroverts. They just open up very easily, very quickly. So you should have the ability to collaborate with all kind of people. You cannot say, I can't work with these kind of people. So you have to be collaborative. You have to understand, be part of the solution, and whether you have a positive energy. Like people want you walk into office in the morning with a certain level of energy, and they look at whether you can walk away at the end of the day also with the same level of energy. So that is where the factors that you need to develop. Technical skills and the skills required to work in a global delivery centers, you already have it. Just because you are pursuing CA, most of the skills that you, especially if you have done your articleship for 3 years, proper articleship, then you have the skills, the technical skills you have. Only thing is you have to believe that you have it and then attend it.
Good morning, sir. I have one question.
Yeah.
Is it good to do CPA after completing CA? What is the demand for CPAs in Big Fours?
See, it's always good to do CPA after doing CA, because it will help you in your career, taking your career to international exposure. And the Big Four always value CPAs. There's no doubt about it. Like if you're a CA, they value. There is no doubt about that. But if you're a CPA, it will always help you, especially when you're interacting with your onshore partners or onshore teams. It will help you because they also can relate you as their part of the team member. So I always advise people to take up CPA if you're working with a global delivery center. And the approach you should have, especially in the first 3 years, if you're working in a global delivery center, is treat it as your articleship. You have done your articleship with an Indian firm. When you go to a global delivery center, treat that as your articleship and learn full on. Like when you join articleship, you are so much excited, right? I want to do tax audit, I want to do GST, I want to do it. So first 1.5 years, you'll be so excited to work. The same excitement you have to bring it back when you're working in the global delivery center. Then you'll have an extraordinary career.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the next question is the most pondered question amongst all the newly qualified CS or the recently qualified CS. So here is the question. Sir, I am working in global companies for audit. Will that knowledge be useful for me to start practice in India for an audit of Indian companies?
It will always be useful because I myself am a living example of that. I worked with multiple taxations for about 10 years. US, UK, Australia, Canada. And then I left all of that and started my Indian practice. So it's not about, it will be really helpful because you understand the larger companies, how to run a process, how to build a team, how to execute a big project, and how to interact with the client, how to understand, how to deliver what the client wants. So those are the skills that is required. If you're looking at Indian practice, people always have this misconception that you have to do only audit or tax filing. People are not looking for those tax filings or audits because those things anybody can do it now. There are softwares that are coming up. So as a chartered accountant, client will be looking at value addition. What value you can add? How you can help me in improving my turnover? How will you can help me in reducing my cost? How are you going to help me in simplifying the process? How are you going to solve the problems my tax team is facing? So those kind of things that you learn in your when you're working in global delivery centers, that's what you will learn. See, most of your clients start off business, Indian-based clients, they start off business and they make a career turnover of 2 crores first year maybe. And after 3 years or 4 years, their turnover increases to 15 crores. So their challenges have increased. So they don't know how to handle that. So when you come from a process background, especially when you're working with global delivery centers, you understand how to design a process, how to put up a process to make things deliver. So that is what the clients, those kind of things that you'll do a lot of value addition to clients in Indian practice. So it will really be helpful.
Okay, thank you, sir. That was an experienced answer that we can get. So the next question is Shivam Mantri is asking, so what is the future of working in GDS considering the recent layoff trends in big global companies of US and also more than 3 lakh CPAs quitting the profession? What is the future of working in GDS?
That's a big advantage for GDS, right? Because people in US are not, accountants in US are quitting. So what's going to happen is the work is going to come to GDCs only. Global delivery centers only, the work is going to come. So previously, how much ever layoffs happen, it is that much advantageous for GDS. So if people are getting laid off, okay, that will have a macroeconomic impact. That will always be there, but that is going to create a big advantage for GDS because their cost of operations go down compared to doing somebody in US. So operating out of GDS is going to create a lot of cost savings for them. So that is going to help them survive in the market, the audit firms.
Okay,
So that's a big advantage. That's not going to create a disadvantage.
Someone is asking the question in audience.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You can read out next question, Kishore.
Yeah. I'm just looking in the chat box. So next question is by Sai Krishna. I think the client interaction is one where we can get a great exposure in Big Four. So how the client interaction will be in global Big Four?
See, global Big Four client interaction will happen not immediately, but what the advantage will have is you will be first interacting with your US counterparts. So you will be interacting with your US staff. So the most of the Big Fours operate as a team extension model, where somebody in New York, partner sitting in New York requires 10 people, and 6 people are working from New York office and 4 people are working from India office. So they treat it that way and they build the team. So end client interaction will happen only after 4 or 5 years of your practice of you working in the global delivery centers, and if you once you understand the nuances of the client, of the industry and things, then they can give you the opportunity. But interacting with the US onshore people in the first initial years is a huge thing for when you work with the global delivery centers.
Great. I hope that answers your question, Sai Krishna. So here we have another important question. So a lot of people keep asking us this question actually. So when the people are getting interviewed, they'll face this one question. So why, if suppose the interviewer is Deloitte, so they'll ask why Deloitte, why not other 3 in Big Four? So how can we face this question? How can we answer this? And how can we, impress the interviewer with a genuine answer?
See, you can answer that question when you do a research on that organization before you go for the interview. Most of the times when you go for an interview, so as a interviewer, when he's asking that question, he's testing how much you have researched about the company. So if you, most of the time we just research, then we see the name of the company or from how it is formed and other things. But you don't go to a website like Glassdoor and see the review of the employees. What is the work culture? And so when you do the whole examination of the preparation about the company, right? You know about the company, what is the work culture, what are the good and bad about the company. Definitely you cannot speak about what's bad about the company with the interviewer, but whatever is good about that company, you should be able to speak. So that is what they are looking at. So if you look at Deloitte places a very high emphasis on women employees. So if a woman is attending an interview, then that can be a point. So if you know that only when you do a research on that company. If you go to KPMG or at EY, they do a lot of emphasis on technical knowledge. KPMG looks at all-round development. Again, PwC looks at all-round development. So you should do the research of the company, especially if whether what division you are attending, whether it's a tax or audit, how many people are there and how many places they are operating from. So do a complete research of that division and the company, and then you will be in a position to answer that question. There is no standard answer for that. Like the answer you give to a Deloitte and the answer you give to a UI cannot be same. So it has to be that company specific. So that's what the interviewer is looking at, whether you have done the research on my company before you come to the interview.
Yeah, that cleared most of the questions in the chat box. So we'll go for the next question, sir. So Pragya is asking us, I have an Indian taxation knowledge from the experience, but not the US taxation. I have more than 3 attempts in final. So what should I do for getting into Big Fours and US taxation?
So US taxation, there are a lot of openings for their freshers and associates. So if you, what I would suggest is look at Big Four, go to their websites, see what are the openings they have for their freshers, and attend there. And don't look at, especially if you're looking at US taxation, there are a lot of small firms doing US taxation. So don't hesitate to join there and learn the subject first. Learn subject for 1-2 years there, do some returns there, and then go to Big Four. No problem about it. So if you're attend interviews with Big Four, if you're struggling, don't hesitate to join smaller firms and learning the skills and then going to bigger firm. Because Big Fours are facing a lot of shortages, especially with 2 to 4 years experienced people. They get freshers, they get senior people, but they don't get people with 2 to 4 years experience who have been a good preparers, and they can prepare and they can start reviewing. So if you're not able to get in as a fresher, you can always get in after having a 2 years experience in that. So don't hesitate to work for small firms and learn the subject. I think that's my answer for Pragya.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Pragya. So
one thing,
yeah,
being an interviewer, what would you expect from these people, freshers or experienced people? Like what knowledge or skills and coming to US taxation or accounting? For example, hello.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
So my question is, being an interviewer, like when some person comes for interview, like what knowledge or skills expected from them, like a fresher or experienced to be in US taxation, accounting, or auditing?
Okay. See, the first thing, if anybody, especially you're a fresher and you're not having an exposure in US taxation and you're attending an interview, the first and foremost thing a person will look at is your learnability. If you have that high learnability factor, then people can take that. Because I recruited, the 300 people whom I recruited were all freshers to taxation, US taxation or UK taxation. The only thing I always check for people is whether they have the learnability. If I put them a complex adjustment or complex schedule in front of them, whether they will learn it or they will give up. So if I feel they are somebody who can easily give up, then I won't take them, because those requires a lot of consistency and a lot of hard work to understand that. So it's not like a CA exam where if you read it twice and if you feel you're not understanding it, then you let it go, saying that if it comes, I'll leave it in choice. Whereas in practical, there are no choices. You have to fill up that schedule. So learnability factor is the first and foremost thing I will look at. And second thing is whether the person will be a team player or not. Especially when you're working in global delivery centers, we need people who complement each other. You cannot be like, I'll do my work and leave. You have to stand up for other people, take the work and complete that work. So being a team player and having a collaborative mindset is the second thing which I always look at people when before I take them. Because you're a chartered accountant or a semi-qualified chartered accountant, and it is very easy to train you because you already have gone through the process. But whether you have that ability to learn or not is what I always used to look at. So if you can convince the interviewer about your learning abilities, see, US taxation, you don't know anything about it. So if somebody is asking a fresher about US taxation, then there's something very wrong. But if you have to convince him about your learnability factor, so that is something. These two factors plays a very crucial role. So you have to look at what you put in your resume, because most of the time the questions flow from what you put in your resume. Sometimes people just put whatever they have not done also as part of the resume. and you get exposed in the interviews, because your resume is what the first thing that interviewer is looking at, and 90% of the times your questions will come from the resume only. So you have to be very clear as to, don't just go and put saying that I have done audits and other things which you have not done, especially if you are done in your domestic business. Only put what you have done in the resume. Be authentic. Just don't think, okay, my resume will shortlisted if I put all this high fund works, then you'll get exposed and then you'll not be able to crack the interview. The global delivery centers requires people with the learning skills. Learnability. Learnability is a huge thing. And you need to have good computer skills. That's it's a must have skill. It's not a good to have. Maybe 10 years back, having a good typing speed or a good skill was a good to have, but now it is a must. You have to be very comfortable with Excel sheets, with your presentations, with your Tableau and other latest tools that are coming up, Power BI. So those are the skills which you need to start using them more. So those will help you in cracking the interview, and also looking at the interviewer is what is going to look at. How well versed with your latest technologies.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think we have got 3 points to keep on our pockets before we prepare for interviews. So we'll go for the next question. So Bhargavi is having a big question for us. So I am Bhargavi. I have completed my graduation in 2022 and discontinued my CA intern. So doing job in Australian compliance part. I want to explore and learn more about the global taxation part further in future. So what courses will make my career better to settle in taxation?
So which country's taxation you want to do? Like you said, you are Australian compliance. So you want to make it in Australian tax, or you want to move to US tax, or what is it that you're really looking at?
So she's asked about global taxation in the question. So
US taxation is always good, Bhargavi. So you can always attend interviews for freshers. See, most of the big fours are now going through agencies, HR agencies, for their fresher recruitment or college placements. So either of these two things they're going through. So for US taxation, either you do doing EA course is always better, because it's a simple four papers thing with more emphasis on taxation. So if you are a EA, then you short recruitment will happen in before this thing. So it takes you a year's in time investment, and it will cost you about 1.2 lakhs to do that course. So doing EA will be really helpful for you if you're looking at as a career, because I know KPMG and EY, especially on the US taxation front, if you are an EA, only then they'll promote you as a manager. And Deloitte had that requirement long back. So doing enrolled agent is good.
Okay. So that is a path for you, Bhargavi. You can choose that path very well. So here we have a little tricky question, sir. So Harish is asking us, nowadays BTech graduates are easily getting 12 lakh package, whereas the CA freshers are getting only 9 to 10 lakh package. What is lacking in us? And later, if we compare also, they are getting 100% hike and the workload is lesser than CA. So what is lacking in us and how can we improve?
Okay. See, the problem is an orange cannot be an apple, or an apple cannot be an orange. If you are an orange and you wanting to be an apple, that is a problem. So apple has its own benefits, orange has its own benefits. So saying that each fruit should be treated in the same way is a foolishness. A doctor during COVID was a highly regarded profession. Maybe after that, but because it's high in demand, so things will go in cycle. So it is not like engineering is earning 12 lakhs. That's the reason why he has better, or a CA is earning 10 lakhs. So there are CAs who are earning more than engineers, because CA has its own advantage. Every profession will have its own advantages. I'm not saying this is better than the other or other thing, because the moment you get into that mode of comparison and fall for it, then you are not going to utilize what is good in with CA. Because as a chartered accountant, you set up your own business, you have a minimum guarantee business. At least you can do 60 tax audits, or you can go and there's a legal backup that you are getting because of being a member of a CA institute. You have the authority to sign, whereas a graduate or a engineering BTech guy doesn't have that authority to sign. So if he's starting a business, I have known many business people, many BTechs who had excellent careers. They started business and they failed, and they again went back to business jobs. Whereas CAs knows how to run a business, and they start their practice and they expand the practice. So it's a skill set that we have. And don't look at money that you're making now. See, money making is a thing, it's a 30 years or 35 years process. Don't look at first 2 years or 3 years and then get disheartened. You have to make a system, as I said initially. First 3 years, invest on your foundation. So then next 32 years, look at where after 35 years, if you utilize your time and opportunities effectively, definitely you will earn more than the other professions. So don't look at short term and don't get discouraged.
That was exactly an amazing answer, sir. So even if we keep getting these questions, so I don't know what to answer to all of our followers, so that from now I can answer this question, sir. So yeah, we'll go for the next question. Sai Krishna is asking us if we wanted to shift to Big Four in UK after some years of experience, whether Indian Big Four or global Big Four suits best.
Indian Big Four won't send you to outside. Global centers will always send you, because in my team in KPMG itself, I have about 6 to 7 people who migrated to UK. So it is not just it's an opportunity has to come. So most of the people have, I still remember one person who was supposed to join Deloitte, but he was very good. So as a director, I could speak with my UK counterpart, and I said, instead of firm losing such an excellent person. So in that conversation, the director in Birmingham office said, I will take him over. Will he be interested to move to UK? Then when I went and checked with him, he was more than willing. So instead of losing him to Deloitte, I sent him to Birmingham office in UK. And he's still there in UK. It's almost now 10 years. So it's all a time and opportunity has to come. So you just cannot go to a global delivery center with the intention that they will transfer you. Obviously, definitely they will transfer you if there is an opportunity. You have to build a case for that. You cannot expect the company to do it, but you build a rapport. Because I have known a person, just to give you an example, I don't want to take the names. I've sent a person on a secondment in KPMG. For 3 months, he was in UK, interacted with them, and he worked out of a particular office and did the work there and came back to India. So there was a specified objective why he was going there, and he accomplished that. He came here. And he made a network of people when he was on a secondment. And when he joined, came back to India, after a year and a half, a person from that particular office moved to PwC. From KPMG, that person moved to PwC, and then PwC, that person recruited this person as the first person for the core team. And that person is right now leading a big division for PwC. So it is all about networking and how you utilize your connections. So that opportunity will always be there. And another thing which I forgot to speak about global delivery centers is global delivery centers. The opportunity will be very huge when you are working with core teams, core team or the initial team. Like when new work is to be started off, and you get take that opportunity and help the team in migrating and take that work, and that makes a huge difference. Because most of the times people will be skeptical of taking up a new project because they think whether the project might be success or a failure. But my experience tells me, like, whenever a company is there used to be a opportunity to migrate or a new project, I used to jump onto that team, because you make it a team that success and automatically you become the whole team becomes yours. Because UK practice for KPMG, I started off with 10 people. I took those 10 people and went to UK, stayed there for 6 months, learned their taxation system and came back. That was way back in 2007-8. And I grew the team of 10 people into 300 people. Because that became possible only because I was leading that initial team of 10 people. So that makes a huge difference. So if you get an opportunity to work in initial teams, always make a choice to do that.
Great, sir. So we have another question from Ramach Maria. So as my working is in small firms from the last 4 years, but I want to explore into global firms and US accounting or US taxation part, is it possible? So will that 4 years of experience in our small firms just count to me or not?
Small firms, is it a small Indian firms or small US or international firms?
Indian firms. 4 years from Indian firms.
That will be counted. See, it is all about how you can, what value addition you have done. See, if I am an interviewer and I am looking at your profile, so as a CA semi-qualified, you would have done your articleship and then you are working for 4 years. So what you have learned in those 4 years makes a big difference. So your resume should speak about, apart from articleship, what differently you have done or differently you have worked upon in those 4 years. If you're doing the same work, what you did in your articleship, then it will not make it. Definitely, you have to put in a lot of effort to convince the interviewer. See, interview is always a negotiation table. It is like a negotiation process. The interviewer is having an expectation and you have to negotiate that expectation. Okay, so definitely it's how much you believe in yourself makes a big difference, Rama, not the work. If you feel, okay, I've worked on 4 years, 3 years articleship, 4 years of work, that is 7 years of experience I have, and what skills and what value addition you can bring for an international organization. And if you can convince people, then definitely people will be more than willing to count that experience and take you.
Okay. That was a great answer, sir. So a lot of semi-qualified people are having questions, sir. So in this world of newly qualified CS and graduates, how good it is in the field to get a job of a semi-qualified CS?
See, I always have this point. No, a doctor will not call himself a semi-qualified doctor, or a BTech will not call himself a semi-qualified BTech. But why does only a CA calls himself as a semi-qualified chartered accountant? So it is very wrong way of looking at calling yourself a semi-qualified. Don't label yourself. See, you have a skill set. What is the difference between a semi-qualified and qualified is that person is able to convince an examiner that he knows it. A semi-qualified person is not able to convince. That's the only difference. If you look at skill-wise and knowledge-wise, semi-qualifieds are much, much better than qualifieds in some cases. Because I worked with a lot of semi-qualified people. They're still not cleared CAs, but extraordinarily talented. So don't make it a big issue that you are a semi-qualified. If you are qualified, good. Good for you. You you convince somebody to give you those 40 marks and you moved on. So if you are semi-qualified, don't label yourself as semi-qualified and try to beat yourself up. I have known semi-qualified or a non-qualified chartered accountant still earning more than 24 lakhs in Indian industry, not even on the global delivery centers. Global delivery centers, I can give you more than 100 examples for people who are earning more than 50 lakhs. It doesn't matter whether you are qualified or semi-qualified. What you can give, look at what you can contribute to those organizations. Don't look at, I am this, I should get this. Shift your mindset. Whether you're a chartered accountant or semi-qualified, the first entry will make a difference. After that, nothing matters. Your performance matters. Your performance and your ability to contribute to the organization is what matters. Your qualification doesn't matter. If you can contribute more, you definitely will get more. So you should develop that mindset of contributing more to the company than to thinking that I'm a qualified, I should get this.
Thank you, sir. So this is really soothing and a very comfortable answer to listen for all people here. So we have another question. So actually, I myself has a question. So we keep hearing a lot of questions from followers and all. So if a person is looking to settle or explore into the offshore fields, and he's very willing to move out of India and work anywhere else. So how should we after qualifying, what is the first step that he or she has to take?
See, there are a lot of countries, especially Canada. If you are a chartered accountant, they are ready to give you a PR. If you are a chartered accountant and you are on the right side of the age, then Australia is ready to give a PR. So only thing is you have to find out the formalities, what needs to be done. And if you have worked in a Canadian Global Center or a Australian Global Center division, then that work will definitely help you. So don't think it is not possible. It is always possible. I have seen many cases where people have gone there. Like I have seen I have my own brother working out of Cayman Islands. He worked with Deloitte for about 5-6 years. And then he wanted to move out of Deloitte and he moved to Cayman Islands and he worked for another Big Four company there. So that way it is always opportunities are there. The only thing is you have to open up your mind and think it is possible and make it chase them. And nobody is going to come and tell you the opportunities. You have to create your opportunities. Corporate world, don't expect because most of you are now going through this formalized coaching system to pass the CA exams. And that's a problem when people come out of coaching system into the corporate career. They still expect somebody to coach you and guide you. Nobody is going to guide you. Nobody is going to coach you. If you are expecting that, then sorry, you'll struggle. You have to create your own path. Speak to people, go to seniors, talk to them, learn what mistakes they did, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, what is their work approach. So the first 2 years, 3 years, interact with as many seniors as possible. Nobody is going to kill you. If you knock on a senior manager or a director's cabin and want to have a coffee with them. So talk to people and understand how things work in corporate world, and you have to create for your own self. Don't expect your manager to come and tell you, okay, you can do this, or to give you a path. The manager is not your lecturer in the coaching center.
So one last question. With this, we will close the session. Yeah, you being a successful practicing chartered accountant, founded a startup. What are the few things that young chartered accountants are required who are interested in practice? Like, how did you turn your practice a successful thing? And many people are looking for practice. What are the few things that you can guide them who are looking to, build a career in CA practice?
Okay, so
exactly. Even myself is a practicing CA, so even I have started recently. So this is for me as well.
Yeah, many people are looking for this young chartered accountant. Even entrepreneurship also. What are the few entrepreneurs need to excel their career in entrepreneurship?
See, as I said, you have to define your yourself, what you will stand for, what are the principles you will stand for. Whether you're in practice, since the question is more from a practice perspective, so look at what will be the principles on which you'll stand on. Like if you don't want to sign those tax audit reports just for a sake of amount, or you want to take a stand that you will not inflate expenses, or you will not do a different thing. So it's like defining yourself, where you want to be, how the market want to perceive you. Create that first. So if market perceives you as a value addition person, then they will keep coming to you for the value addition. Or if the market perceives you as somebody that you will do anything to get the job done, then they'll come with, they will come with what is needed to do that. So always create how the market wants to perceive you, especially when it comes to CA practice, because how market perceives you makes a huge difference. If market perceives you saying that this chartered accountant is going to, he'll make sure that I will win the game, or they are going to give something for the clients. So build that perception. So first you have to create the perception. Second thing is what value addition you'll give to the clients. So don't look, most of the time CAs, especially in the practicing people, there is always a conversation that keeps going on saying that the practice is losing charm, or the practice is not remunerative, or the practice is not that good. Because people make those comments only because they're stuck with the old system. Because if I go to my boss who I did articleship, he says the same thing. Because times have changed. The technology has changed. The way you do business has changed. So you have to change that. You have to change along with that. Instead of being the old way and saying that, okay, a client has to come to office, so let him only come. That will not work. You have to go to client. You have to go to client. So gone with the days where you sit at one place and you expect the client to come in. It's not going to happen now. So whether you want to travel, or if a client is more doing an approach of using the Teams applications and technology to have a collaboration, have this technology collaboration. And value addition is crucial. Focus on what value addition you bring to the client. If a client is seeing the value addition that you're bringing in, see, two things when it comes to value addition. First thing is convincing the client what value you are adding, and then you pricing the value addition correctly. If you're adding a value of 1 crore to client's business, then don't price it saying that I'll take only 50,000. Price it 4 lakhs, price it 5 lakhs, and client will be more than willing to pay. So you have to focus on value addition and from two perspectives. How much value I can bring in more to the client, and how much you can charge for that. So have that. And the third thing that you need to have a successful practice is interact with clients. Have more interaction with clients. Keep visiting clients' places. Don't make it a thing like, okay, my staff is visiting, so I can't visit, so it is fine. Don't do that. Keep visiting your clients and interact with them. See, I always tell people, don't look at enhancing your practice. Enhancing your client's business is automatically going to enhance your practice. So make that as a cornerstone. So if your client business is growing from 10 crores to 100 crores, then automatically your billing will go from 10 lakhs to 1 crore. So focus on that. Don't try to focus on your business and lose the client. But at the same time, you have to make a right choice of which client to invest your time on and which client you want to let go. So if you feel that relationship has been built and there is a bonding that you have built with the client and the understanding and the trust factor has been built in, then you have to invest time on those clients. So clients will mature. Clients will not happen like in 1 year or 2 years. Because out of my experience, I have given free service for almost 2 years for a particular few clients. And for 2 years, they converted into a big paying clients for us. So that happens. So especially with the first generation chartered accountants and newly into practice. So we have to, that is the investment you are doing. Time is your biggest investment. So value your time. Don't, the another thing with the big fours is you learn how to bill your time. 9 hours of your time, how you bill. So that is a huge thing when you'll learn when you come to your practice. So try to value your time and have that mindset, like create these things for the practice. And anything that you survive in business for 3 years, definitely you will survive after that. So first 3 years being in that business is critical. Because I've seen a lot of chartered accountants to start a CA firm and after 6 months, 1 year, they leave and they join corporate world back. So if you are starting a practice, make a conscious decision and be there for at minimum 3 years. And then you'll make money. So that's where I think your focus should be when it comes to the practice and entrepreneurship.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It really gave valuable insights.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for the question. It really helps us all. And people are responding with good feedback. That it really helps them.
Yes, yes. A lot of people are texting in the chat box that it is very, very insightful and you have answered it. Really amazing, sir.
And personally, the messaging.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks everyone for the opportunity to spend the 2 hours with you people. Really thankful for giving that, being a generous listener, because listening is always is a premium skill, which you gave to me. So that's, I'm very much thankful for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll wind up the session with this.
All right. Thank you. So you can share my LinkedIn profile if anybody is interested or have any further questions. You can always reach out to me.
Yes, sir. Please type your LinkedIn or phone number if you're comfortable.
Sorry?
Please type that LinkedIn ID or something in the chat box from your end.
Okay, right. I will do that. Yes,
yes, guys, the session will be uploaded in YouTube and we'll share that links in Golmal CA and also tax destination groups.
I've shared my
great, sir. Yeah.
link. So people can ping me on WhatsApp also if required. I'll be more than helpful to willing to help the people who are having doubts or anything.
That will be grateful, sir. You can type that number in chat box as well. So if this session is uploaded in YouTube, then the number will not be visible. So I'll read it out for you. 96633133807. That is the number.
No.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, once again.
Thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Nani, for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll repeat the number. So it is 96633133807.
Okay. Okay, so let's wind up.
Okay, right. Thank you.
It was a great session. Thank you.